everyone. Welcome to the Book Over, our little book club where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, and with me is Megan.
Hi.
And today we are talking about Blood Bonds by Bree. It's the third book in the Bonds That Ties series. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
I was like,
I was wondering. I was waiting for you to say it to see, because sometimes that can be a tongue twister for us.
Yes, there's a lot of bonds and tying and
Yeah.
in it. Yes.
And for some reason, it always feels like it's like the ties that bind. Like you always think the tie, because there's that common phrase, the ties that bind. So you're like, is it the bonds that tie? Oh, it's the ties that bond. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yes.
it's a twister. So.
It is. It's a brain twister. Anyways, so starting off with the warning, we're talking about the book. All the book. If you haven't read the book, I would wait unless you're okay with spoilers. And the book basically picks up right where we left off in Savage Bonds.
Like exactly.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's nice. You know, you finish one, you could go right into the other if you're reading them back to back. I like that a lot.
And it was quite the cliffhanger. You know, last book saw Oli going to rescue Gabe's sister in the camps, and there being like a really powerful shield, and seeing Atlas's father, and you know, Kieran being taken away from her, and she's just trapped, and she has to face like her biggest fear, like the guy that she couldn't say his name, couldn't think about him, is there. So she has to kind of come face to face with stuff. And so we get to learn about what happened to her in the camps finally, because she has unfortunate flashbacks into what happened in the camps, which leads her bonds to finally know the big, hey, she 100% was in the camps. She didn't run away from you, which completely changes things for my favorite character, North. Well, because last book we got that great scene with them having that conversation and talk, you know, that there could be more, you know, the Starbucks order a helping Sage with North. So I think that was kind of and we knew that North was on the cover.
Yes.
So we got the North bond.
Yes.
Really
well, and with North on the cover, I've loved every cover of this series so far.
This one.
But this one, and you know, it could be because of his creatures on it.
Yes. Oh, the creatures were amazing on it.
Right.
Yeah.
I loved the creatures.
And the way they're looking up into and then you have the dog, him, and then I love
the dog, and then on the back the little like medallion dog statue thing, and the snake.
I like seeing more than just the dog. I mean, I love the dogs, but I like knowing that he had a snake creature too.
Yes. I love that when that popped up in there. I was like, oh, I like that. I like that too. Yeah.
I love them all too, but that's my favorite cover. Well, because North is my boy. He's been my boy from the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I was really excited for that, for the North bond. Mm-hmm. It was very interesting that the bonds talked. She talked to his bond. Sorry, I was getting something mixed up. She talked to North's bond like after the bonding, because North was scared. North seems kind of scared of his bond, kind of like I don't think she's scared of her bond. She's relied on her bond, but she's scared of what her bond will do.
Yes.
And that's such a big part of the book and why she's scared to bond with them. But I feel like she's getting more in touch with her bond. And her bond kind of became more of an entity than I thought.
Yeah.
But so she talked to the bond, and the bond was like, I'm not going to hurt you, but North still didn't trust it. So that was really cool to get that scene. I'm still like so excited for more from when we get like for the next couple books, when we get to know North better, and we like get those conversations where, you know, we talk about some of the things that had happened in their relationship, because this book was definitely them kind of in the haze and more flirting and stuff. So we still haven't had like the North conversation or the North date. It's more like the flirting and the like, you know, we're in this like loved up kind of relationship, which you know, it's always fun because North is just so attractive. But,
yes. Well, yeah, and it did make me love North more, seeing him loved up on her, you know. Yes, I am looking forward to more of that relationship developing into like a deeper relationship.
Yeah,
Something,
kind of. Yeah, where she is with like Atlas and Gabe, and
Mhm.
she's had more time with them
Yes.
to develop before they bonded. Where North is, I think, the only character that she's bonded with, or well, other than Knox, he's the only one that like she didn't have all this history with first. Like even like Griffin, she had like, you know,
A
these
little.
moments.
Yeah.
They knew each other better. Where North was always just kind of like this figure, like she you could tell that she was attracted to him, and she kind of held him in a certain regard.
Mhm.
And there was this chemistry, but he was kind of like unattainable. She held him at a distance kind of thing. So it's like it was a flip the switch. He is like ready to go, and his alpha possessiveness and control, which I love, has come out. So I can't wait to get more of that. I mean, I know we have other bonds to get to, I know, but I feel like even though we haven't bonded with Gabe, she has a relationship with Gabe. You know what I mean? Like it's there. And then Knox, we're getting so much into him scattered throughout the books. So I won't get into that theory yet. I've got some Knox stuff to talk about later, but I think we're still talking beginnings. So
Yeah.
I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a minute. Go.
So what,
Mhm.
you know, North, love, all that. I really liked the beginning, Ollie and Karen at camp together. I liked him playing along with it. I liked him getting to know her even more.
Mm-hmm.
I loved how like he like tried to rescue her and like jumped back to the guys and was like, you gotta like heal me fast so we can get back to her. Like that was all I like. That was one of my favorite parts of the book, just to see like her being like, I know this, I know that. How she gave can't remember, Brutus, was it Brutus was with her? August.
Brutus was with her.
Yeah, how she gives Brutus to Griffin's sister to protect her.
Yeah.
Like all those things, I'm like, that gave so much more, even though we had a lot of insight already on Ollie, just gave so much more of her past to us readers. And then to have Karen there too. I already liked Karen. And I like that he could already tell that she was actually okay, which is so funny because right at first we didn't like him. No, because he was such an ass to her. And then now like I'm like, he's one of my favorite friends. I'm happy he's now in the friend group, which we'll get to that too.
I feel like with him, I feel like he was like the bonds at first. He like didn't trust her. He had misconceptions, but he wasn't bonded to her, so he could see past that before they even could, to being like, hey, this stuff doesn't add up. This is what I'm seeing. Obviously she didn't run away. And then now he's witnessing what happened. And like I love him so much. And I love that he is in a certain bond group, and I want more of that. I'm like, can we get a novella over here of this bond group of Kieran and Sage? I need more.
Well, I loved how that happened too, how she went to just like give a little like extra, you know, to Felix, and then it got him too, and then Ollie's like, whoa, and then but you know, like I just I love that.
Say anything at first. Yes,
I read that a couple of times. I'm like, wait, what just happened? Wait, did that just happen?
I love how exactly. That was so exciting. I really want to get more of that. I hope we get more of that. I need more of Sage's bond group. Well, I guess we'll get more into that's the thing though.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave the Sage thing for the end too. Guess what? I forgot for a minute. I'm like, oh yeah, I need a Sage novella, and then I was like, wait a second. The ending.
Yes,
well,
the ending.
I'm gonna push pause.
Push pause on the ending, so we'll do the ending towards the end.
It's on the ending. I forgot for a minute.
It's okay. So once Ollie gets back, you know, she finds out she's dealing with, you know, now bonding with North, and we find out, you know, now North can be inside her head, and now it's both of them inside her head.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, that's fun. You know,
that's two in her head. That's fun.
But I also liked getting a lot more of the other guys' perspectives in this one. It
Oh,
was
it's huge,
it was
huge.
huge. And it just because then we get glimpses
Mhm.
of, like there's a part where like North got upset. Like he never really showed Ollie how protective he is of her. But like
Mhm.
Griffin knew, and then like Griffin witnessed stuff, and you like get him being like, oh, I wish I could like send Ollie a snapshot of this right now,
Yeah.
like and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And that I really liked. That helped me develop feelings for these characters and to understand them more too.
Mhm.
I love POVs. So
Me too.
I liked
And I
that.
do feel like the POVs though, I feel like changed the series though completely. Like I feel like the series felt so different this book. I
Mhm.
think you had mentioned it to me that it felt like that transition, like the big transitions were happening this book, and I felt like the POVs, the guys having POVs really changed it, and it not being from her perspective and her narration. Well, there's a lot of different things because in this book she's not going to school.
Right.
It was so much her daily life, and then they go to a completely different city,
Mhm.
or they transport everyone to this place that North had been coming up with. So there were just like a lot of changes to what we knew and how like the story was being told. It was always being told of like, the things are happening during the school, like throughout the school, and this and that, and just like the status, not the status quo, what just the way that it was narrated by her completely, is different because we're jumping around from character to character. She had been in the camp, she's bonded to more people. They are full on war, so everything has changed. So the book felt so different. It was just completely different transitions. I really enjoyed getting the guy's POV, Alice's POV, because that was also a big cliffhanger. Everyone was very skeptical of Atlas from the beginning. He's too good to be true and all that jazz, and they legit addressed it. Like they used the words like too good to be true for Atlas.
Mhm.
So I found that very interesting. His whole
Yeah.
his
I
whole
liked finding that out though. We finally have
storyline.
more answers on like why was Atlas a little sketchy to us? How did he know certain things beforehand?
Mm-hmm.
And then what I liked too is knowing like getting his story when he finally got to talk to Ollie and him like saying what he discovered and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff and about his dad and his sister and his mom. So it's like,
Yeah.
wow. And so now like I feel really bad for him because everyone has these like tragic family stories. And he's like the one that has like this still like intact family on the East Coast. And then you find out that it's like a crappy family and his dad's horrible and his mom's kind of horrible too, right? And then like
Sister's brainwashed.
yeah, and her bonds are like me besides the one. And then
Yeah.
like here's Atlas who's just like this like yeah, good. I love Atlas.
I love Atlas too, and I felt like this was redeeming for him, for
Mhm.
people who were worried, because I thought it was the perfect explanation. I think
Yes.
it gives us a bit of both. Yes,
Mhm.
he was part of the resistance, but as he said, life on the East Coast is very different, and I think that adds more dimension to the resistance.
Yeah.
Meaning, like the resistance, they're not like living in camps, they're not like war people, they are living normal lives too. They just have this completely different belief system, and they're a little bit brainwashed.
Mhm.
And it seemed like he was very sheltered until he like broke in and he saw videos, and he didn't know
Right.
that was his bond. Once he found out it was her, like that was his bond, he found out his mom was kind of trying to protect her in her own kind of messed up way.
Yeah.
It was very messed up, which gives you more insight into how the resistance works, which is just but the fact that he, as soon as he found out, he was playing, he had passports, he was ready to go, he was going to take her. I loved that. And that was just so true to his character.
Mhm.
It made sense that that's what he was going to do. He was going to run off with her, he was going to save her from his family, from everybody. He was going to and he had talked about it, so it added up.
Yeah.
It seemed like the perfect explanation. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the explanation, and I
Yes.
liked that. I hate saying I liked that there were these videos, but I liked knowing that the characters finally have seen like, hey, she went through hell for you. She held out in these resistance camps. Yes, her bond took over, and that's what they were trying to get. They were trying to torture her to get her bond to take over because they want to like weaponize it. But she did all this for you, and now they have to come face to face with the fact that like she was protecting them all along. And this is her fear. Her fear is the resistance kind of put it into her. They bred into her a fear that she's going to become this ultimate weapon because that's what they want to use her for. And she's she's admitting to herself, I want my bonds, but I need to figure out how to do it while controlling my bond. Because like, I think you had said it too, that we're learning that her bond is, has almost a mind of its own in a way. They're connected, but this book, it took over.
Yeah.
It got its own POV.
Yes. Yes. So, and that was something I was telling Megan before we started recording, was this book felt there was a different feel to this book when you're reading it. It's different than the first two books. And to me, it was transitional. We are tying up some things and we're gearing up for new things. And so it's like, because there's things that are tied back. We're getting answers, things are progressing, and then new challenges are showing up and new information showing up. So it's different in that. And that was one of the things with the bonds. Like, I didn't know that the bonds, I mean, we all didn't know that the bonds were like kind of a separate thing in you. I always thought of them as more of that, what did we call it? Animal
Instinct, like you're being more
instinct.
intense, your primal animal instinct.
So for it to be separate, that was different for me. Very different for me. I'm really interested in seeing where that goes and how, because it's interesting how she's like communicating to it too. Like sometimes she would like pretty much go to sleep from it, and other times she's still aware of her bond, and she would like, the bond would be like, oh, but the girl says I can't do that. So it's interesting, that thing. So I want to know more about it. I want to get more on that relationship inside her.
It's almost like a split personality now that I think about it. It's kind of felt like that. Like now that I think about it, it's almost like having a split kind of personality, because she would be aware for some of it and some of it she wouldn't be aware for. And then Knox and the bond talked without Ollie's knowledge. And then Knox would let his bond talk to her bond. And I think that's part of what's satisfying them right now, is that their bonds are talking, but Knox knows, but Ollie doesn't know.
Yes. And I love that. I love that, how she woke up and she's like, I got sleep, but I'm exhausted.
Yes.
I loved it. But he knows. So I'm very curious on him, because he knows he's giving the bonds what they need.
Yeah.
I want more Knox. I really want more Knox, because I want to know more of like his damage and why he's the way he is, and why he's like, no, I will never with her. And I'm also wanting a little more of North, just because he is so worried about his bond. That's why she had to talk to his bond, was like, are you going to hurt me? And the bond's like, no, I'm not. Like, and he doesn't trust, all of his creatures either. So it's like, I want to know why he's not trusting. And let's talk about trusting with North and his secretary. When is she going to go?
I was wondering, did she come with them? Did she come with them to the their new sanctuary?
I don't think so. No, I don't remember.
I want to see her murder.
Right? And she's probably really innocent, but like she's doing things that like, lady, back up. Like, and why have none of the other guys? Griffin can tell, and Griffin's like, you're dismissed. You need to go. Why is no one else being like, go?
Yeah, but she was absent this book, wasn't she? I don't think she was mentioned.
No,
at all.
There was a scene. She was in an office scene at one point, and Ollie showed up, and Griffin was like, "You can be dismissed." And
yes, yes, I do remember that. But that was pre them moving. So I did remember thinking, oh, did North's secretary come with them? I need to know. And and I think he did address something about the secretary. Was it the first book or the second book where he was thinking, well, but it was his POV where he was thinking, oh, another secretary. I don't know. There was something from his.
Oh, POV. Yeah, that was his POV for Savage Bonds at the beginning.
Okay, where he was like, okay, but this
Poor
is
Atlas at the beginning of all these books, he's being tortured, or he's being, put in solitary confinement.
I learned about a new power though. She can like
Yeah.
jump in heads. I didn't see that one coming. I was like, what? Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Right.
So they are developing even more powers beyond what we thought. Like
Right.
because they were saying, oh, the world didn't end, nothing happened, but we are seeing little things. Well, I do have that Knox theory that I was holding off on.
Yes.
With his damage. I'm not sure about North's damage, why he doesn't trust his bond, but Knox's mom was a telekinetic, I believe they said. I think something happened with his mom. I think he was not in control. I think that like something happened to him as a kid, and that's why North is protective. He doesn't like to be touched. I think he might have been like assaulted or something.
Right.
I think something very tragic happened to him. With his mother and with somebody who has that telekinetic power, because they said, Griffin said, whatever you do, don't pop into like, because how she popped into Atlas's head, don't pop into Knox's head. And Knox had said something to Griffin about not getting into his head too. So I think he has something about autonomy and being controlled. So I think that something, maybe he was made to do something. I think that he was controlled as a child by his mother.
That's good. And that's probably why he has full control of his creatures and he trusts them now. He's trained them.
And I think they protected him. I think that's probably ultimately what happened. And now, didn't they say they're also alluding to something about like bond. Okay. Here's the thing with North. It was about how a bond can't kill. They're bonded. They can't harm them. That was said. However, we know that, was it North's father that killed his mother? We know something happened where one of the Draven's father killed one of his bonds, right? So I think that's where some of that fear stems from. Am I right there? I'm questioning that.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm
sorry, everybody.
Sure. I'm pretty sure
I know
because
his mom died. His dad ends up dying.
His dad dies, and then they held the seat on the council, but they said it was hard to lose the seat, even though there was the scandal that happened.
Right.
Where I think that they'd killed his bonded.
That's interesting. So
I think that's why he was scared that he's going to hurt her, because in his mind, you can hurt your bonded. Yeah. So I think there's something else going on there. Well, disclaimer, I think that we're both kind of forgetting something here. So if I'm talking off base, I'm sorry. In my memory, this is what happened. In my memory, I believe that there was an incident where North and Knox's dad killed one of his bonds. But why? I do not remember.
I don't think we know why, because anytime they talk about that history, it's very vague and very like, it's not my story to tell, but here's like a snippet of it. So I don't think we know, but I think you're on, with Knox, and we've all been saying that for a while. He's damaged, but I think you're really onto something, and that kind of leads me to,
well, maybe he killed Knox. Wait, did he kill North's or Knox's mother? Because that would explain why he would kill Knox's mother if Knox's mother had been bad.
We will reread. Comment
again.
Let us know.
The thing is, we do reread a lot.
We do reread a lot. This time we haven't. It's the holidays.
I thought I knew, because in my head that's what it is in my head. But then you like start to question things.
Yeah. Okay. So that leads me to more. So we're in the little community. Ollie's still kind of adjusting and meeting, they're in that small house. She's trying to help out. Everybody has a job to do, but then Atlas takes her pretty much on a date because she needs out. They finally get to bond, which is yay.
I loved them together. They have such a nice, nice together.
And I'm excited for her to get like Gabe. I feel like Gabe is always like left out on that part. And I think it's just, he's the nice guy, and nice guys do come in last a lot.
He said he
So
was willing to wait too. And
yeah,
I think
he's
he said that on
willing.
purpose.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And so at the end, the attack happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out at the very end that Sage is the one that killed the shield, and that's how they got in.
Yeah.
So I have theories, and it kind of goes along because we already know that Sage has issues inside her bond group of like Riley, and we now know that Riley is being controlled
Yes.
by
Giovanna.
Giovanna. Yes.
Yes,
Giovanna.
and by
Yes,
resistance.
thank you. We did this on one of the other episodes too. We couldn't remember her name.
Controlled by a neuro, so we know that the neuros, again, not
neuros can do the controlling.
Neuros can be, yes, they can.
Yes. So I'm curious.
If a neuro,
first of all, with Sage, I am so proud of her when she stood up to North when Ollie was still at camp, and she stood up to him about it. I even like highlighted it and made a note in my Kindle, and I was like, yes, Sage. So applaud Sage for that. And that's why I don't think Sage is knowingly doing this.
It could be easily explained by a neuro. Yeah.
I think she's either being controlled by a neuro, or I think now that we learned that the bonds can be kind of a separate thing inside us, is it possible for your bond to like switch a flip in you and like take over and do things you don't want? Like, I'm like, either she's being controlled or her bond went like rogue.
And she does have a fourth bond. She did the blood test again that we have not met or heard of yet.
Yeah, so we don't know who that is.
Yeah, what if he's resistance or something, and there's something there, and he was able to achieve? Yes.
Right. And so I'm curious on what's going to happen with her. Felix, they're all around Ollie when she finds out from that snapshot that Griffin sends her, right? And so like I'm hoping we pick up there. I'm wondering, like if Felix and Kieran's gonna have to be brought in on it, and we're gonna figure out what happened somehow. So like the next book being
Kieran's not like unless they did something to Kieran in that camp and then he did something to her, but I don't think that.
No, I think this Kieran's either gonna have to be left out of it because it's his bond, right?
And he's protective, just like during that battle he was like kind of useless because he was protecting Sage.
Yeah, or they're all gonna have to be brought in on it to watch her to see what's going on. It's going to be really interesting. And I do want to see though, like the Riley situation being like solved. I want to see her being, and I get like they explained why they're not yet and they're watching people, but it's just so like part of me is like just off with their heads and like so like, and I have like, so because I'm like, it's Sage, and I'm like, I just can't believe like the Sage that we know. So something is manipulating Sage.
I think it's like how we didn't believe Atlas, the last book, that like with his father.
Yeah.
But it would be something though. It would be quite the plot twist if she was resistance all along. Her family was resistance. Well, because Sawyer too, but Sawyer was looking out on those cameras.
Yeah.
But did he block the cameras from Sage? Maybe they're both resistance. Maybe they were both resistance all along. And then their bonds are gonna be so sad. Kieran's gonna be held up.
No. Don't take us down that road, Megan.
No, I don't think I really don't think that's gonna happen. And when I see people like in spoiler groups and stuff thinking that's true, I'm like, come on now. Have you been?
I can't. I need something good for Ollie. She would be heartbroken if that.
I think it's a neuro. It's a neuro.
It's got to be a neuro, and it's got to be someone in there somehow.
Yeah.
And there is somebody I am suspicious of, and I'm having a hard time remembering his names. He was the other tax guy.
Yes.
In the car.
Talking about yes.
And he's also somebody on the council's son. So like his first name I think is Harrison, and their last name it's not Knox.
Is it Knox? Knox is the bad guy in
Okay, there's somebody else, but the guy in the car that was with them, and like
I know
he's
who you're
like,
talking about. Yeah,
yeah,
he came
like
on the
I'm just a
run.
little worried about him because
They're
I'm not.
introducing a new tag team guy, and it's
Yeah,
like, will he be good or bad?
yeah,
Like,
is he good or
like,
bad? So keeping an eye out on this guy. And the one person that I really miss though, like Vivian from college, the tax
me
teacher.
too. What happened to
I want to
Vivian?
know that he's okay.
I know she's training with Gabe. I'm
Mhm.
not Gabe. Well, yes,
With
Gabe
Gryph,
and
yeah,
Griffin, but I want some Vivian back in my life. Like,
yeah,
let's set up the school. Let's set up Draven University in the new sanctuary and have her
right.
go
Let's get Vivian in the sanctuary to train everybody. So if
yes,
another attack happens, we're all
love
ready.
him.
I just need to know that he's okay, that he survived that other attack that happened and everything. Because Vivian's like has a place in my heart, along with
Great character.
all the creatures and all the guys and
I
everything.
know.
So,
He's a great character. Yeah, I hope
mhm.
they bring him in
Or
and
that
don't
they
kill
get to go
him.
back to college too. I liked that. I liked that I like that the series is progressing,
It's evolving, yeah.
you
But
know, but I love those things so
I
much.
know, I love that too. We need our Vivian back.
We need Vivian. Yeah.
There's one thing I forgot to mention, which was Gabe. During this book, we did get some insight into his mom and his family situation and why he didn't introduce
Yes.
Oli, because his mom has lost both her bonds and she's like taken to bed
Mhm.
and like can't, and depressed and like, can't function. So I liked getting his POV and getting to know like what was going on with his family, and like, 'cause you did wonder like, well, why
Yes.
hasn't he introduced her?
Mhm.
Um
I
and
like
I
that. I
like,
liked getting more
yeah,
Gabe that way.
and
Yeah.
I like it's showing, because that does happen to people where they're caregivers, or they have a parent and they end up having to take care of that parent,
Mhm.
and it's very interesting to see what goes through his head and what happens, when you lose all your bonded. That's scary.
Yeah.
So
That's rough.
yeah, just to think that in that world, that's what, how they all function in this
Mhm.
little society when they don't have their bonded. It was sad.
It is sad.
So I liked getting our little bit of our little history of Gabe.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the more. So my last call is Forest Bonds. So the fourth book, it comes out in March, end of March is what it's scheduled right now to come out as, March 2022. So we're in the right year.
Yeah.
And so the blurb I think is available now, but with just the title of Force Bonds, I have two theories. Either one is like relating to like Knox being forced, or so I have three. Something to do
Okay.
with Knox. The other one is that they're learning that Ollie is her bond's not going crazy with her bonding, like she's afraid of. So then maybe they decide that she needs to bond. So she's like forced to bond with the other one so she can be, so the whole group could be strong enough to protect the group. And then my other one went to like Sage, and like maybe her bonds are forced to do something. I don't know. I'm reading into the title of the book, you guys.
I think we all are, because that's what a title. I think
Mhm.
in the whole series, you like Blood Bonds was intricate, Force Bonds. I mean, as soon as we got it, people went crazy because you just automatically think this means something. I think Knox. The first thing I think is Knox.
Right.
I think that Knox was forced into something. I think he's going to be forced into, I think they're going to be forced to bond. Like you said, whether it's for power or their bonds take over, I think there's going to be like a forced bonding there. Something's going to force them to bond.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think it has multiple meanings. I think it is going to have to do with Sage. I think Sage was forced into something. I think that there's
multiple layers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jay Bree said that she puts things into books. She does this stuff intentionally. She says she likes it. She said this on lives before. So I think when we do read into things, like she puts things there for us to read into on purpose. So.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the next one. And I want more Knox, because every book I get more of him and I love him a little bit more.
I love it I love how it's been trickled through though.
Trickle.
And that's what's great about reverse harem. You can wait. We can wait on Knox and still be satisfied because we have all these other great relationships.
We do, but I would love to have a little bit more of him soon. Like just give me a little bit more, and maybe have him like maybe not fully turn around to be pro Ollie, but like a little bit more.
Yeah,
just a little.
Keeps letting her in.
I don't want to wait until the last book for them to be like fully in this relationship.
Same. I hope that like by the last book they're all, devoted to each other and on the same side. Yes. Well, and I think it's very helpful that like North, who was the second biggest one and kind of against her, bonded this book already. So that's helpful. So I definitely want more of the Dravins, and I want more, of them on dates and talking, getting to know each other and being fully immersed like she's gotten with the other guys, because like they're late to the party. And I want both of them to be like completely in it too. So I can't wait for Knox. I think it's going to be Knox. I think it's going to be Knox and Gabe. I think we're going to get 2 bondings again. Okay. And then I think so that'll be book 4. So then we'll have 2 books where they're fully bonded.
Yeah.
So
that would be good. That sounds good to me.
Right? That sounds good to me too.
Sounds like a plan.
I love it. I think it's So knock on wood, here's to hoping.
Here's to hoping. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the book as well, enjoying the series, and we will chat about Force Spawns after it comes out. Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.